Hi guys, Mr. C here with a video that I hope to make as a regular feature on my channel. Um, I want to start including book reviews, and so this is my very first one. I've been, well, first of all, I think I need to back up. Um, we have a tradition on our family on April 23rd. Um, I don't know if it's April 23rd every year or something like the fourth Monday of every April. But we follow a tradition called St. George's Day. Um, it's a Spanish tradition, as I understand it. I mean, we've only started following it the last few years. Um, on St. George's Day, everybody in the family gets a book. And so the book that I've received this year, I've just started into it, um, is by a guy named Chris Hadfield. And it's called, now this is going to be a mirror image, unfortunately, but it's called An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth. Okay, now Chris Hadfield, if you don't know, is a Canadian. He is an astronaut. Um, well, I think he's retired now. But for, what did it say, 140-day stretch, he was the commander of the International Space Station. And so this is autobiographical in a lot of ways, but it's his guide to personal success. I guess you would say. Now, apparently, a lot of what he says in this book kind of goes against the common wisdom of personal success, how to be successful in life type books. I've started into this. He's very frank, which is very much appreciated, I think, because he's lived these life experiences, and he's gone through struggles, and he's done all of that and come out as a pretty successful person. He talks about when he first had his dream of being an astronaut. It was when he was 9 years old and he saw the Apollo moon landing on television. At the time, Canadians were not even allowed to be part of the space program. But he had this dream that he was going to be an astronaut, that he was going to fly in space. He also talks about obstacles that he's had to face, and he's already. I've started reading the introduction. He's already talked about one obstacle. In fact, the very last one that he had on his way to going on his first spacewalk. I think I'm going to do a brief reading from it. So bear with me. Floating in the airlock before my first spacewalk, I knew I was on the verge of even rarer beauty. To drift outside, fully immersed in the spectacle of the universe while holding on to a spaceship orbiting Earth at 17,500 miles per hour, it was a moment I'd been dreaming of and working toward most of my life. But poised on the edge of the sublime, I faced a somewhat ridiculous dilemma. How to best get out there? The hatch was small and circular, but with all my tools strapped to my chest and a huge pack of oxygen tanks and electronics strapped to my back, I was square. Square astronaut, round hole. So that serves as a refreshing reminder, I think, that on the way to any goal, you might face absolutely ridiculous obstacles that you had no idea were coming. Who would not think of this when you're building the spaceship? The astronauts are carrying a lot of equipment and stuff. You have to make the hatch big enough You have to make the hatch big enough for the astronaut to get through. So it's a useful reminder that you're going to be facing all sorts of ridiculous obstacles on the way to your goal. And you always have to show enough flexibility, sort of thinking outside the box to reach your goal. As I said, he's been very frank so far. He's talked about the toll that this has taken on his marriage. That's at least one area where he's been very frank. Once again, very refreshing. For example, out of the first 2 years of his marriage, he and his wife had to live in 2 different provinces in Canada for 18 months as he was training to be a fighter pilot. And she was in another province looking after their small children. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I look forward to posting more videos on this, on reading, on my reactions to books. And I hope you enjoy this with me. So I think that's all for now. I will certainly come back with a part 2 in a few days. But until then, see ya.